Acharya, also Teta Sachashi, Shimad, His Divine Grace, Abhaya Charananda Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Sidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Mathuram Ki Jai, Jagadasami Ki Jai, Yamunamai Ki Jai, Shrimati Tulasidevi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. 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 All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premananda. Hari Hari Bol. All glories. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Deja Tarne Srila ki jai. So, okay, so, there's a little glitch because my Kindle is having spiritual problems. So I have to pull it up here, pull the verse up here. Give me a second. So opening up the verse here. Do we need the microphone? I guess so. What's that?
It's a bit nicer.
Nicer.
A bit more. You can hear the back.
In the back. Okay. I thought I was loud enough. But I guess not. Okay, so let's see, we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, fourth canto, text 3, chapter 3, text 2. Okay, in the Bhagavatam, 4.3.2. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Okay, does everybody have the verse? 4.3.2. Yada Vikshito Dakshas Tu Brahmana Parameshtina Prajapatinam Sarvesham Adipatye Smayo Abhavat Yada Vikshito Dakshastu Brahmana Parameshtina Prajapatinam Sarvesham Adipatye Smayo Bhavat Yada Vikshito Dakshastu Brahmana Parameshtina Prajapatinam Sarvesham Adipatye Smayo Bhavat Yada Vikshito Dakshastu Brahmana Parameshtina Prajapatinam Sarvesham Adipatye Smayo Bhavat
Yada Vishikto Dakshastu Brahmana Parameshtina Prajapatinam Sarvesham Adipatye Smayo Bhavat यदाभिषिक्तो दक्षस्तु
यदाभिषिक्तो दक्षस्तु
ब्रह्मणा परमेष्टिना प्रजापतीनां सर्वेषाम् अधिपत्ये स्मयोऽभवत्
यदाभिषिक्तो दक्षस्तु ब्राह्मणा परमेष्ठिना प्रजापतीनां सर्वेषाम् अधिपत्ये स्मयोऽभवत्
यदाभिषिक्तो दक्षस्तु ब्रह्मणा परमेष्ठिना प्रजापतीनां सर्वेषाम् अधिपत्ये स्मयोऽभवत् यदाभिषिक्तो दक्षस्तु ब्राह्मणा परमेष्ठिना प्रजापतीनां सर्वेषाम् अधिपत्ये स्मयोऽभवत् यदाभिषिक्तो दक्षस्तु ब्राह्मणा परमेष्ठिना प्रजापतीनां सर्वेषाम् आधिपत्ये स्मयोऽभवत्
Okay. Yada. When. Abhishikta. Appointed. Daksha. To. But. Brahmana. By Brahma. Parameshtina. The supreme teacher. Prajapatinam. Of the Prajapatis. Sarvesham. Of all. Adipatye. As the chief. Smaya. Puffed up. Abhavat. He became. So translation. When Lord Brahma appointed Daksha, the chief of all the Prajapatis, the progenitors of population, Daksha became very much puffed up. So purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Although he was envious and was inimical toward Lord Shiva, Daksha was appointed the chief of all Prajapatis. That was the cause of his excessive pride. When a man becomes too proud of his material possessions, he can perform any disastrous act, and therefore Daksha acted out of false prestige. That is described in this chapter. So again, the verse. Yadabhishikto dakshastu. No, we don't repeat this time. Brahmana parameshtina. Prajapatinam sarvesham udipatye smayo bhavat somagana timrandasha gananjana shlakaya chaksurun meditam yena tasmai shigarve namaha. So it's very interesting. This is described by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur when he's analyzing the sources of anarthas. Everybody knows what anarthas are. Anarthas means things that you don't want. Artha means things that you do want. So anarthas are things like kama, krodha, mada, matsarya, bhari, abhaya. Lust, anger, greed, illusion, envy, fear. All these are unwanted things. Although in modern society, these are wanted things. Right? Lust. You know, of course, I don't need to talk about lust. because it's the internet and the media and everything like that just sort of just like propagates this whole idea of lust. What is lust? Let's describe lust. It's not just like, you describe like a boy and a girl, or nowadays a girl and a girl, and nowadays a boy and a boy, and nowadays a boy who's sometimes a girl, sometimes a boy, and the girl is sometimes a girl, sometimes a boy. Anyway, there's so many permutations, I don't have time to go through all the permutations, because there's a whole list of how you identify yourselves, like 10 different ways to identify yourselves, and that's based upon 10 different ways to identify the other person who you're having a relationship with. And even if then you can have a relationship with 3 or 4 people simultaneously. So that's modern society. So what is lust in essence? Lust is the desire to use someone else as an object rather than to consider them to be a subject. In other words, just like my computer, it's an object. You can't really say, I lust after my computer. I don't know. So, some people lust after computers. And nowadays, of course, they have robots that you can really lust after. Especially in Japan. Japan is more expert in this than that. They have like comfort robots. You can get married to a robot and it's, no problem. She doesn't talk back. You just turn her off. Nice, isn't it? Okay. She just sits there until you turn her on the next morning. So anyway, lust means to treat things as objects, not to be concerned about them. Exploitation. So that's really what the essence of lust. And it also applies not only in a non-sexual context, it applies just when you're using someone for your own sense gratification. You want to employ them, you're not concerned about them. Like I was in India one time and staying at someone's house and they had these servants. They were paying probably like 10 rupees for the whole day or something. And treated them like dogs. Actually, in America, the dogs get treated well, like you treat your dog better than they treat servants in India. You play with them, you're concerned about them, you love them, you kiss them. Hopefully not. In America, they kiss the dogs. But anyway, so that's lust. And then kama, excuse me, kama, krodha, and then anger. Anger means that we're lusting after something, we want something, and we're frustrated. Jayato vishapum samsangus tesha vijayate sangat sanjayate kama krodha vijayate. And then, so that's anger. Anger, I mean, there's actually Krishna conscious anger when you get angry with someone who's blasphemous or criticizing the Lord or his devotees. Greed means you want to possess something. Not only want to exploit something, you want to own something. Just like people sometimes say, I'm yours and you're mine. And you're my Radha and I'm your Krishna. That's greed. Thinking you can own something. Actually, Ishavashamidam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagajam Jagat Tena Jaktena Bunjira. You gotta have a little water or something. It's nothing serious, it's just life in the body. Magradhakasha Svidaram, as the Upanishad states, everything is owned and controlled by the Supreme Lord, and everything is meant to be used for his service. And Krishna gives us a quota. Lust, anger, greed, illusion, mada. Oh, pray to Krishna. Pray that Krishna, the voice works. We can't control everything. It's like I'm thinking I can control so many things. You can't even control your own voice. So anyway, lust, anger, greed, illusion, thinking that you're something that you're not, that you're the body. And then Matsarya. What is Matsarya? Envy. No. It's described about the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Dhira dhira janapriyo priyakaro nirmatsara. They didn't, because they were envious of anyone. They were everyone's friend. Envious means I want what you have. Whether it's prestige, whether it's position, whatever it is. And then finally, bhaya, fear. Where does fear come from? According to the Bhagavatam, fear comes from the duality of not seeing Krishna everywhere. It's like sometimes we're fearful, some fearful condition happens. We're in an airplane, just like one time I was in an airplane and the engine went off. They had 2 engines, don't worry. And I wasn't scared, but other people, oh my God, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, they weren't chanting. I was chanting. So anyway, so lust, anger, greed, illusion, fear, these are all anarthas. So where do they come from? So here we're talking about Daksha and his specific anartha of envy. So they come from different sources. They come from sinful activities, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. That's obvious, isn't it? Do some sinful activity. Obviously, you're going to get an anartha. That's the result. Someone may think, well, there's no problem. No one knows I'm smoking marijuana. Nobody knows I'm whatever. But you actually get these things that you don't want, and you lose a taste for devotional service. So that's one source of anarthas. Another source of anartha is pious activities. Woo! Pious activities. So in one sense, Daksha was also doing pious activities in filling the universe up with kids. Because he was a devotee, as we mentioned before yesterday, Sakama devotee. But, he was doing it for pious activities or pious purposes. So pious activities actually create anarthas. Why? Because one gets proud that I'm helping so many people. Who's that? Dr. Livingston or something like that. You remember that? Yeah. Dr. Livingston, I presume. So people do all these different pious activities to help people. And really you're not helping people, but you're thinking you're helping people because people have their karma. What's karma? What's that? People have their karma. So you can, definitely it appears you're helping people, but then the karma comes back. It appears you're helping people. Of course, we believe in helping people too, obviously. If you see someone suffering in the street, we don't say, that's your karma, buddy. We help them, but we chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And to their ear, the karma gone. Right? So the devotee is more merciful. But if you just help someone materially, then it doesn't eradicate the karma. They're suffering because of karma. They're enjoying because of karma. So that's, pious activities cause anarthas. And then, obviously, sinful activities, I said that already. And obviously offenses cause anarthas, right? Offenses to devotees. Then you get material desires. For example, in that story in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Ramchandra Puri, everybody knows the story? Ramchandra Puri offended his guru by advising his guru inappropriately when his guru Madhavendra Puri was leaving the planet. He said Madhavendra Puri was exhibiting symptoms of ecstasy, and his disciple Ramchandra Puri said, just think of Brahman, Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj is thinking of Krishna, and he's telling you think of Brahman, and his Guru Maharaj, Madhavendra Puri, got so upset with him, he said, get this rascal out of here. I don't want to ever see your face again. Final instructions from Guru Maharaj. What are your final instructions? I don't want to see your face again. So, Guru Maharaj passed away, final instructions. Oh, terrible, isn't it? So, anyway, that's obviously cause of anarthas. But the non-obvious cause of anarthas is the fourth cause. is devotional service, or the byproducts of bhakti. We mentioned this yesterday in terms of the weeds that choke off the creeper. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu compared the cultivation of bhakti to the watering of a seed. And that seed of bhakti, the bhakti lata bij. Of course, we're very fortunate we have that seed of bhakti, because throughout our wanderings in the material world, Brahmanda Brahmate Konda Bhaktivan Jiv Guru Krishna Prasadi Bhakti Lata Bij, we've somehow or other come across Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada's movement, and we've gotten the seed of the creeper of devotion. And so our process is to keep watering that seed, and as we mentioned yesterday, at the same time these seeds grow of weeds. And these weeds grow basically due to the byproducts of bhakti. Byproducts of bhakti means that as you progress in devotional service, like you may know how to chant Sanskrit nicely, you may, just like we're dealing with something, this is an interesting topic. We're dealing with this whole controversy on the GBC conference right now, where there's many people who are intellectuals. You know what intellectuals? Anyway, whatever. Really expert in Sanskrit. And there's those of us who are just like dummies like me. So anyway, we know little Sanskrit, and we've read the books of the Acharyas, but we have Prabhupada's understanding of things. So we're talking about this whole subject about where the soul comes from. So there's this whole controversy. Does the soul come from Sydney? Does the soul I'm joking. Nobody takes that position. Does the soul come from the Brahmajyoti? Does it come from the Tatastha? Does it come from the Mahavishnu? Is the soul eternal? Is the soul non-eternal? This whole discussion. Because people are interpreting on their own Sanskrit verses, which can have many different meanings and sometimes be metaphorical. It's not that easy. Like, if you ever read the works of Srila Rupa Goswami, especially Vidagna Madhava, Lita Madhava, which I have read, that you'll have Krishna say one thing and it can mean 3 or 4 different things. Anyone's heard my Lita Madhava recitations? Some of you heard it. Krishna will say something, Radharani will say something, it could have meant this, could have meant that, could have meant this, could have meant that. So people have a lot of Sanskrit knowledge. They think they know what Krishna means when he says something. And those of us who just have Prabhupada's association, we actually know, because what Tarko Pratishta Shruti Navina, Vibhina, sorry. What does that mean? That means one cannot understand things by studying the Vedas, because the Vedas are multifarious in their meanings. If you simply go, yesterday, someone asked the question, what about the Shiva Purana where it says that Shiva is supreme? Okay. Om Namo Shivaya, I'm in the wrong movement. I just started studying Sanskrit, Okay, so bye-bye, Hare Krishna. Now just get pick up some Rudraksha beads for me today. No more Tulsi. So, all these years, tilak, what's the problem with this tilak? It has to be 3 lines. Right? Because all these years, now that I've studied Sanskrit, I understand things a little better. So, but the whole point, the Mahabharata verse states, what is it? Tarko Padishta Shruti Vibhina. One cannot understand things by logic, one cannot understand things by studying the Vedas. Even Krishna in the Gita says, Triguna Vishya Veda Nishtriguna Bhavarjana. One can only understand things by taking shelter at the lotus feet of Mahatma. Isn't it? Mahajani Hena Gata Samanta. Following the footsteps. So, those of us who are very simple, like me, we just think, Prabhupada said it. It's good enough for me. It's true. And then you have other people who are arguing. I'm not accusing them of anything. It's natural. It's natural, but sometimes too much education. Sometimes it was said that Sanskrit education can sometimes cause someone's problems in spiritual life. There's too much education. Even like Queen Kunti prays, Jamai Shvarya, Shrutashri Shibiredamanda Adapaman. If one's has a good birth, Brahmin, I'm a Brahmin family. I know better than you Hare Krishna devotees. What's this Malacha giving class for? So, Janma Aishvarya, one has a lot of money. Just like I was seeing about this very rich man. I think he's the richest man in the world. I won't mention his name, Elon Musk. So anyway, he's definitely doesn't follow the regulator principles. He doesn't really care what people think, isn't it? He buys Twitter, messes it up, changes the name, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so, and then all these girls he has children with and everything like that. Some of the girls are saying, please let me see my children. Just like, what's the guy's thinking, Where's his compassion? Where's it like that? Anyway, don't want to offend him because I like his cars. So, but I'm just saying this, Aishvarya, opulence, one becomes very proud. Driving around, I was talking to someone yesterday who drives a Tesla, and he says, you feel when you're driving around that you're very special. Yes. A special member of the club. Until there became more Teslas on the road, then you feel really depressed. It's just an ordinary person at that point. Isn't it? When you first get it, you're the only guy, and when you run into another one, you wave, Really, we know better than everybody else. Yeah, it's a problem. Whatever you get proud of. You get a computer, you get a better watch than anyone else. Look, I got a Pixel watch. What kind of watch you just have a stupid Apple watch, whatever. And so Aishvarya, there's all that, the pauper is proud of his penny, as they say. And Shribir, Aishvarya, Janma Aishvarya, Shrutasha means learning. One becomes very proud. I know what's best. I know where the soul came from. And Shribir, one's very attractive or beautiful like that, like a Bollywood star, actor. So these are all causes of anarthas. And so Daksha, he's not some dummy. He's a quite intelligent chap. He knows all the mantras. He's going to lead the sacrifice. He's not just having babies all over the place, filling the universe. He's not just some lusty guy. He's a brilliant guy because he's leading the sacrifice. That means he knows the mantras. He's brilliant. Knows the Sanskrit. Knows everything. But why doesn't he know about Lord Shiva? Isn't it? That's kind of interesting. He must know all the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda, Sama Veda, right? He must, because he's doing the sacrifice. This is a different age that he's doing the sacrifice in. But he doesn't know about Lord Shiva, Lord Shiva's position. He thinks Lord Shiva is just like a guy who's kind of dirty, hangs out with ghosts, and it's just all sorts of things. Doesn't get dressed properly. Look at me, I'm wearing a nice outfit, and I had to get him married to my daughter. Terrible. So he doesn't really know the Vedas. He doesn't know the purpose of the Vedas. He doesn't know. He's missing a lot of tattva, the ontology. Means look, all the positions of Lord Shiva. He's worshipping Vishnu. At least he knows that Vishnu is supreme. All right, fine. And he knows that Brahma is the first guy in the universe. But there's a lot he doesn't know, and that means he hasn't really. We can implicitly understand he hasn't taken shelter of someone who's explained these things to him. Or he hasn't heard when the person is explain these things to him. Or he's overcome, even though he knows these things, Avratam Jnanamaitaina, Jnani Nonti Chavarana, Kama Rupena Kontiya Dushparena Lenaja. So his knowledge, or his knowledge has been covered by lust, by the anarthas. And so that's his problem. So he has this anartha of envy even before the sacrifice, and Lord Shiva didn't stand up during the sacrifice. But because of his having to marry, under the order of Lord Brahma, his daughter to Lord Shiva. But it becomes further enhanced when he's given this position. So that's what I mean by the byproducts of bhakti. You're given a position. Oh, now you are Guru Maharaj. Okay. That's an upadi. An upadi means a designation. So one may have a service, but if one considers himself to be the upadi, the designation, then he's an ass. Actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that one who thinks he's guru is a guru. Guru, cow or an ass. You know, that's the point. And he's just not a guru, he's a guru. So basically that's the point. Whatever service we've been given, whatever service we've been given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by the spiritual master, by some authority like Lord Brahma, that's a service. And Krishna has given us the intelligence, hopefully. The intelligence comes from Krishna, the service comes from Krishna, the ability comes from Krishna, the strength comes from Krishna, just loaned to us. It's just a service. So I'm doing the service of sitting and giving Bhagavatam class. I'm not the boss, I'm not the supreme proprietor, I'm not omniscient. I'm just a humble jiva soul trying to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we're all ready to do whatever whatever Krishna wants. Krishna wants, we can clean the toilets. And if Krishna wants, we'll give class. And that's the devotee's mood. Gopi Bharata Parakamala Dasa Dasa. Dasa Das. And obviously Daksha doesn't have that particular mood. He's thinking, I am the performer of sacrifices, the great Daksha. Prajapati. I have so many nice children. It's like someone might have a child who excels. I am the father of so-and-so. No, so-and-so. Your child belongs to Krishna. You don't get credit. I mean, maybe get a little credit by teaching the kid how to chant Hare Krishna a little bit. But the child's an independent soul. The child chooses its path in life. It's not simply part of your body. This is the problem with people who come from India. They think that children are just like extensions of my ego. And the ABCDs think, I'm not an extension of your ego. I'm an individual. I got my own path. So, anyway, it's a problem. So, any questions or comments about any of these points? Questions, comments, arguments, problems, issues, complaints? Questions?
Gurudev,
Yeah.
please accept my humble obeisance.
Ja.
I remember from yesterday's class you were saying that Chaturvada Bhajante Mam. So everybody is a devotee. But then, when somebody is blaspheming against Krishna, as in there will be people who will say, in South India or in India, Krishna is Vishnu's avatar. So is that really blaspheming, or is that knowledge? Is that really blaspheming, or is it like the knowledge that they have got from their families? That's covering that.
It's not really blasphemy, it's just they're bewildered. Blasphemy is based upon also intention. One has to have the intention to put someone down, to criticize someone. If someone is just presenting what they heard from their family, they're an illusion. Like if someone comes to me and says, Lord Shiva is supreme, Vishnu works under Lord Shiva, that's not blasphemy. That's actually just like misunderstanding. So that's to be intention of, envy. Intention of putting someone down. And then it becomes blasphemous. Not just a misunderstanding of philosophy. So as far as where the soul comes from, Prabhupada said we originally Krishna conscious living entities. And therefore, it's interesting when you apply logic to this whole question where the soul comes from. That if you say that the soul was just put in the material world, which is many people are making that propaganda, Sanskrit experts, that means that God is very cruel because we were put somewhere without any fault of our own. We're being punished. Why are you in prison? I don't know. Didn't do anything wrong. Just the government. That's like Russia. God is like Putin. Right? Isn't it? It's just like you're in Russia again. Russia. So God is like Hitler, Putin, and all these other nice guys. So there's an implicit misunderstanding that occurs due to taking a wrong philosophical position in this particular regard. Because we're responsible. We're here because we're responsible. I'm not here because Krishna just decided, he created. That's a Christian concept, right? That's a Christian concept. That I'm here because everybody's born sinful. Because Adam and Eve happened to do their thing. They ate the apple without permission from God. You know the story? And so that's the original sin. And I didn't sin. It's just that I'm responsible for what two rascals did. A few thousand years ago, a million years ago, depending on what version of the Bible.
Don't they also say that Jesus came to take away that sin?
Yeah, Jesus came to take away the sin. So this is one life you get. But I didn't do anything wrong, so I got sinful because whatever. Even though I joined the Hare Krishna movement. And then Jesus came to take away the sin, but you don't have to do anything. You just have to accept Jesus. And once you accept Jesus, then you can still drink and carouse and do everything like that and have a good time. Because no man is pure. You heard that before? Nobody's pure. You Hare Krishnas think you can become pure by chanting the Lord's holy name, but basically you're an illusion. Because the only way to become pure is to accept Lord Jesus, and whatever you do is okay, because no man is perfect. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. Of course, that's not what Jesus taught. Jesus taught, many will come in my name, but they don't do my work. And they're not of me. So Jesus never taught that. That's the teaching of someone later on. Even Jesus' own disciples never taught that. There was Paul who taught that. Just to make more followers. We can make a lot of followers in the Krishna conscious movement and we say you just have to believe that Krishna is God. And forget about the regulated principles, Prabhu. Just like, here's pass the marijuana, Because no man's perfect. Prabhupada, or people do this with Prabhupada. I'm a Prabhupada disciple. Well, you're following him? No, but I'm his disciple. But disciple means what? Discipline. Discipline. So, the people do this in name only. Not only in Christianity, but in Krishna consciousness people do this. I've accepted Prabhupada. Well, you're doing what he says? No. But I've accepted him in my heart. What does it mean to accept someone in your heart? I don't, I can't figure that one out. Accept someone in your heart. Guru Mukha Padma Bhakya. Chitete Kodiyakya. So, it's a problem. It's a problem in every religion. Buddhist religion, so many varieties of Buddhism, and a lot of them they can eat meat. But Buddha came, ahimsa, paramo dharma. So why don't you just go back to the original teachings? Why are you following something that some person taught someone else, who taught someone else, and you have the game of telephone, and the whole thing became completely changed? There's some, this is not to criticize Buddhists, but there's some sects of Buddhism where they want to say prayers and they take a wheel. You ever hear this? No. It's like, we should have a japa wheel. They spin it, and it's just like saying a prayer. Woo! You've heard about that before?
Oh, I did that for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, I was in Tibet for a few weeks. You had that.
The prayer wheels.
Yeah, the yellow toe Buddhas.
Yes.
That's each spin is actually like a lot of mantras.
Yeah. So we should do that. You have the Hare Krishna mantra. Got your rounds done, Guru? Yeah, I got them done. 64. And then, what I would do is I would get a motor. And why bother? There's like electric motor. 1,000 RPM, How many rounds you did that? I chanted 100,000 rounds today. Before breakfast. So things get changed dramatically just by this process of not having an unbroken disciplic succession. But what Jesus taught is pure. What Buddha taught is pure. What Muhammad taught, we have no objection. But then, the people who are members of the Islamic tradition, the Sunnis, the Shiites, the Sufis, and they all hate each other. Right? Most of the fighting in the Islamic tradition comes between the Shiites and the Sunnis, right? More than killing any of us. Right? That's worse. So anyway, I think we have to end now. So I can do my deity worship and take prasadam eventually.
Yes, Guru.
Okay. So thank you very much. All glory. Whoops. We don't have time for questions. Sorry, audience. A lot of people watching today. Wow. 31 people watching. All glory is to